Hello, Creepy Cassettes. Welcome to Creepy Cassetti, your place for horror in reality and beyond. I am your host, Dee, and if you like this sort of skin crawly content, please smash that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell so you'll know every time I drop another video. And we got a hard one today, guys. So let's get into it. I went scrolling through the archives of the internet trying to find some Christmas related creepy events that you might find interesting. And interesting is all I can say about this terribly dark story from history that I bring you today. Fair warning, if you're already feeling pretty bummed out, I'd skip over this one and come back on a better day. Today we're going to be talking about the Lawson Family Christmas Massacre. Charles Lawson, father of 8, although one of his children had passed away in 1920 due to an unknown illness, lived in Germantown, North Carolina. Lawson and his family had only lived in the town since 1918, as they had migrated there the same time as Lawson's brothers, Marion and Elijah. Lawson worked as a tenant tobacco sharecropper for years before he had finally saved enough money to buy his own farm, and thus, in 1927, the Lawson family moved into their 200-year-old farmhouse on Brook Cove Road. There, Lawson continued growing tobacco, and while the family were not rich, reports said they were managing. Christmas Eve 1929, the working-class rural farmer took his wife and 7 children shopping for new clothes, and then the family made their way to a studio to have a family portrait taken. A shopping spree and family portrait session were not at all common for a family of their economic stature at the time. Hindsight makes the family portrait seem like an act of premeditation. Little did anyone know, this family portrait would be the family's last. The snowy afternoon of Christmas, 2 of Lawson's daughters, Carrie, 12, and Maybelle, 7, set off to see their aunt and uncle. Lawson was waiting behind the tobacco barn for the 2 girls to pass, holding a 12-gauge shotgun. When the girls came within range, he shot the both of them. To ensure that he had successfully ended the girls' lives, he then bludgeoned them. He took their bodies and, using rocks as makeshift pillows, laid the girls to rest, arms crossed over their chests. He then went back to the house where he found Fanny, his wife, on the porch. She was his next victim. Marie, 17, who was in the kitchen baking a cake for the family, heard the shot ring out and screamed. 2 of the younger boys, James, 4, and Raymond, 2, tried to find a place to hide. Lawson walked into the kitchen, shot and killed Marie, and then found the boys. He shot them too and then bludgeoned them. He then went looking for little baby Mary Lou, who was just a few months old, and bludgeoned her too. He laid the remaining bodies on pillows and crossed their arms. Arthur, 16, Lawson's oldest son, was spared because his father had sent him on an errand the night before Christmas, so he was not there at the time. After he arranged his family members, he escaped into the woods near the house with 2 of the family dogs. He even washed the blood from his hands in the creek bed, and footsteps circling one of the trees gave the impression that Charles had been pacing around it. Some relatives who had come to check in on the family and I imagine provide their good tidings found only mayhem. They notified the police, and before long Arthur had also returned home. Not long after people were gathered, a shot rang out from the copse of trees behind the house. Arthur and the police officers ran into the woods and found Charles dead of self-inflicted gunshot wound, and next to him letters addressed to his parents. The bodies were wrapped in borrowed sheets and transported via makeshift sled to hearses set up along the road. Many of the town people gathered to watch all the coffins be placed into the ground. Not long after the massacre, Charles' brother Marion opened the house up as a tourist attraction. He left the place in disarray, still covered in blood, and placed the cake Marie had made that day on display. The cake was placed under glass after tourists picked raisins to save as macabre souvenirs. Marion defended the decision by stating that the money would contribute to Arthur's well-being and to pay off any farm debts. All of the family members were laid to rest in the same family plot, sharing a 3-tiered headstone, which is also the final resting place of the son that died prior to the massacre. The letters that Charles had written did not give a motive for the murders, but 2 theories have been brought forward. One of those theories cites that Charles had suffered a head injury in the months before the event, and he had been acting erratically and outside of his character since. Charles had even complained to his doctor, C.J. Hesselback, of migraines and insomnia. However, doctors at Johns Hopkins that performed Charles's autopsy analysis did not find any abnormalities. The second theory is far darker and, dare I say, more vile. It also appears to be the most likely motive for the murders. This theory states that Charles had violating the couple's oldest daughter, Marie, and that she had fallen pregnant. This theory is backed by a few different sources, one of which comes from a cousin, Stella Lawson Bowles, who stated that she had overheard some of the other women of the family talking about how not long before the murders, Fanny had confided in the other ladies that she knew what Charles was doing to Marie. Marie confided in her best friend, Ella May, that she was pregnant with her father's child. Another friend of the family alluded to there being some serious issues going on, and further, a neighbor, Sam Hill, had stated he overheard Charles threatening to kill if Marie told anyone about what he had done to her. Arthur lived on, as best as one does after losing your entire immediate family. He went on to marry and have 4 children of his own. He ended up dying in a car accident in 1945. One of the Lawson's cousins published a book in 1990 called White Christmas, Bloody Christmas. Along with that book, numerous songs and movies have been created about the events. Oh my gosh. This one was too heavy. Poor Marie. If the rumors are true, I can only imagine how terrified she must have been to begin with, only for her and a bunch of other people she loved to be killed. All of the kids were so young and had so much more life in them. Arthur surely spent the rest of his short life haunted by the tragedy. Who knows what they could have grown up to be. Just looking at the eyes of all the people in this portrait, I can't tell if it is just knowing what would become of them just a few hours later, or if there's truly a dark cloud hovering over these people, but it leaves such a feeling of dread. Well, I hope I didn't ruin Christmas for any of you. Hope you all stay safe, enjoy your loved ones, cherish every moment with them, and I wish you all the best in the coming year. Bye.